I want to say it was a one-handed finish. It was just me chopping out of the fescue.
Hello and welcome. This is Slammers Weekly. Thank you for tuning in. Today is Monday, March 13th. We're going to get into the New Jersey State Golf Association schedule for 2023, Jersey golf, all the tournaments, some good stuff. But before we do that, I want to ask my friend, Beau Garino, up at the Jersey Shore, how are we doing this Monday morning?
Pretty good, buddy. Just got back from a little trip down to the Keys. Currently feeling a little reprieve from these winter blues up here. We'll see how long that lasts, but right now all's good in Jersey.
That's good. I imagine it was relaxing down there. Did you get comfortable with nature? Did you enjoy any nude beaches while you were there?
They have some funky stuff going on down there, but no new beaches. I think they have some clothing optional bars. I did not attend any of those. I feel like the people that partake at those places are usually the people you don't really want to see naked. Uh, it's like the locker room guy who walks around and you're like, dude, you should be the last one walking around with that thing out.
Right, right. Or like the naked lady at music festivals, like she's never hot.
Yeah, it's like, where can I get some of that false confidence?
Yeah, yeah. You're like, wow, I could use that. If I can't hit my driver on the planet, I could at least use a little bit of confidence.
Whether it's valid or false, you'll take as much as you can when it comes to your golf game, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I guess that's good for them. I'm hanging in. I'm here in Nashville for the week, having a good time, seeing some pretty unbelievable music just about every night. So all is well. But yeah, I'm excited about this Jersey schedule. There's a lot to unpack, a lot going on. The first tournament of the year is a very fun one. It is a partner tournament. It is the four ball. This year it's being held at Hamilton Farm. Um, we've got some good history at the four ball between the two of us, and both individually with different teams. But what do you think about Hamilton Farm as a venue, and will you be playing?
I will be playing. Right now I'm signed up at Oak Hill, playing with a buddy of mine, Zach Arsenault. Uh, I think it's great that the Jersey has reinvested in this event. I think for a few years, the quality of the sites started to go downhill a little bit. And now I'm looking at the last few years, and they've had it at Galloway, Deal last year, I think Manasquan a couple years before that, and now at Hamilton. It really feels like they're starting to treat it like a premier event again, and they should. It's such a cool event. I mean, the format's awesome. It's arguably the best four ball event in the area. And now with Hamilton this year, I mean, it really doesn't get much better than that in the state. I mean, the facilities are 10 out of 10. The landscape's 10 out of 10. The place is just a beautiful piece of property. And the course is really solid. So I think it's going to be a really fun event. It's pretty wide open out there. It gives you some room to drive the ball. Definitely puts a premium on distance over accuracy. So I think as the matches go on, you'll probably see some of the longer guys have some success out there.
I love that. It sounds like a good match play partner tournament type course. So for qualifying, you got a couple options: Cedar Hill, LBI National, and Oak Hill. I know you said you're going up to Oak Hill. Good choice as far as I can tell. I know a bit about that place from playing it in high school, one of my rival high schools. That was their home course, so I was there a lot. It's pretty good. I remember the greens always being good there, so that's kind of all you can hope for in a qualifying course. Other than that, the course isn't too bad. But what's the scoop on LBI National, and you got anything on Cedar Hill?
Agreed with the comment about the conditioning. I mean, you're really that's half the battle, right? Like, no one wants to go out there and putt half punch greens. You want to take that variability out of play. That's the one thing with LBI National. So it was shut down for a couple years. They just reopened it last summer. A new group bought it. So obviously with the course being shut down for a couple years, the conditions are struggling a bit. They're starting to come back a little. But if you're going out there, I would expect some squirrely lies and maybe the greens to be a little on the bumpier side. With that being said, it's a pretty good course from a layout perspective. It appears a little more claustrophobic than it is. I think there's a lot more room to drive the ball than it looks because it has that pine tree effect, but in the pine trees it doesn't have that thick underbrush for the most part, so you can generally just find it and punch it out of there.
That's good. Do you think you would want to spend, maybe an hour or two just working on punch outs beforehand, or?
Like CPG before the Yucatan Masters?
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a bad idea. It's a shot we really don't practice much anymore because I feel like it's almost being phased out of the game with all of the tree removal going on. You very rarely play courses that are really heavily tree lined like that. But you can do some really fun stuff with the golf ball for that pine straw.
That's good. And then nothing on Cedar Hill, right?
Nothing on Cedar Hill. I will add one more thing with LBI National. There is one hole that I think can be a bit deceiving. It's the 16th hole. You want to aim a lot farther right or hit it a lot farther right than it looks there off the tee. Definitely something worth checking out on Google Earth, getting a good line there, especially considering that's probably going to be one of your finishing holes if you go off the front. If you need a birdie there, yeah, you want to take it up the right side. So check that out.
That right there, that is providing value on a podcast. That one's free. The next one will not be. Actually, yes, it will continue to be. All advice will continue to be free.
Well, I figured since I'm qualifying to Oak Hill and not LBI National, I'd throw that out there for the listeners. Maybe save them half a shot.
All right, cool. That is the 4-ball. The next major of the year is the Mid-Am, and that is happening at Deal Golf and Country Club, an old Donald Ross course down somewhere near the shore. I haven't been there. What do you know about Deal, and how do you like it for the Mid-Am?
I have not played Deal either. I know they had the 4-ball there last year. They had the Jersey Am out there maybe 15 years ago or so. Last year with the 4-ball, I heard good things. I think everyone I spoke to said the conditions were good. It was a fun course. Similar event in the sense that it's 18-hole qualifier at the site and then it goes to match play. It seems like a fun match play course. I know there was a lot of birdies in the 4-ball last year. I'd assume the same with the quality of players in the Mid-Am. And look, Deals seems like a suitable course for the Mid-Am. It's only 6,400 yards. So, I mean, like I said, they had an Am out there 15 years ago. I mean, the game's changed so much. It's hard to imagine with the modern day game that they would have an Am or an Open out there. It just feels like it's a little too short. But it's a good mix. I think, with it being at Titicaca a couple years ago and Somerset last year, I think the skill set that it demands is probably a bit different than those. And you'll see a new wave of players that are given the ability to compete at a place like that compared to a Titicaca or something a little more demanding.
Cool. That's fun. You love to see them mix it up and, get something that kind of fits the tournament pretty well, which it sounds like Deal is pretty good for a Mid-Am. In terms of qualifiers, you got Mendham Golf and Tennis Club, Lake Mohawk, and Cobblestone Creek. Any notes on those, and where are you going?
Mohawk, I know they have qualifiers out there a lot. I've seen that pop up quite a bit. I've never made it up there. It's a little bit of a trek for me. I'm going to be heading to Mendham. I've been out there twice for qualifiers. Both times the greens were really good. Conditions overall were great. And getting back to what we were saying earlier, I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for. You want to just make sure you're putting good greens, take the excuses out of play, and go from there. Layout-wise, it's pretty fun. It's got some fun holes, a couple of goofy ones, but feel like most North Jersey courses, that's the case. And the third one you said was Cobblestone Creek. Dude, Cobblestone Creek is the old Green Acres, our old college course, for across the street from Ryder.
Oh. Is that what they're calling that place?
Yeah, I'm looking at the site now. It looks like the old seventh hole, that short little par three. They put a man-made wall up. It looks like it's made of cobblestone. So I don't know if that's where they come up with the name. Look, I mean, I guess you got to get creative now, coming up with country club names. I guess all the good ones are taken.
It would be pretty egregious to just like build a Cobblestone Creek and call it Cobblestone Creek. I'm going to suspend my doubt, but crazier things have been done.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe there really are natural cobblestones in that creek. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
But anyway, in terms of notes on the course, we both know it extremely well. Well, at least in its old form, and it's short and tight. Greens are small, and it's like not in a super fun way. I mean, if you're really good, obviously, you'll do fine, but you'll do fine anywhere. But yeah, that place isn't super fun. I would rate it low on the fun scale.
I never had any fun out there. I really didn't like that place in its old form, but I mean, they did get Bobby Weed to do it, and Bob's good. So maybe he did some good stuff out there.
Bob does good work.
Yeah, maybe he upped the fun factor out there. Who knows? Got to get out there and see.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's the Mid-Am. Any other notes on anything there?
No, I think I said everything I wanted to say.
All right, cool. The Am's heading to Manasquan River. I played a qualifier there years ago. There's a lot of good players that hail from Manasquan River. How do you think that will play for the Am, and who do you think are the favorites?
I have not played at Manasquan, really striking out on these championship venues this year. But it seems like whoever's not from Manasquan is going to be faced with an uphill battle, because it seems like the best players in the field are also Manasquan River guys and have been playing there their whole lives. And I know the Wall brothers are supposed to be playing in that, and Austin Devereaux. It kind of almost has a feeling of going up to play the Dynasty Patriots up in Foxborough in January. It just doesn't seem like you really have a fighter's chance in that. Especially guys like us. I mean, look, going into those events, we already say we have 0% chance of winning, but you always like to think, well, if I get out and shoot a good front nine or something, I can at least feel like I'm competing in the event a little bit, right? And just see how long I can hang in there. It definitely wouldn't last over 72 holes in an event like that. But with guys like that in the field, I mean, geez, you might as well just really Sharpie in that 0%, because there's just no scenario you can run through where you have any chance.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you gotta like the Wall brothers or Austin out there for sure. Manasquan's cool. I played it feels like a while ago. I remember some cool holes coming down towards the water. It's down near. It's close to the ocean. It's not like on the ocean, but there's like some sort of like inlet, estuary, body of water. I don't know what's going on there, but there's something. Yeah, I remember those holes being pretty cool. So I think it'll be good. There are a bunch of qualifiers. The AM is a big event, so you got 5 qualifiers for this one. I'll just go ahead, rattle them off. A very familiar spot for you, Burlington Country Club. Another familiar spot for both of us, Galloping Hill. I've played Quail Brook, and then I think Jumping Brook, and a potential question mark in Basking Ridge. Any maybe best and worst from those?
Yeah, like you said, Basking Ridge, I do not know. I'll start with Burlington. Burlington, yeah, I grew up played there for 15 years. I like Burlington as a qualifying course because I think it's just a straightforward place. There's really no tricks, no local knowledge. The only thing that's a little tricky is the 18th hole. The 18th green's a little quirky. You got to just keep it below the hole there. But overall, a solid test. Usually the number there is like a 74 will get you in. It seems like no matter what the event is, it always ends up being around there. Galloping Hill, like you said, it's pretty we both have played there a good amount. I think probably most people in the state have, being one of the more prominent public courses. But I think Galloping Hill's pretty straightforward. It's got a few quirks to it, but overall, it's fairly out in front of you. Pretty fair test of golf, I'd say. And then Quailbrook, I do not know. Do you know anything about Quailbrook?
Yeah, Quailbrook is pretty standard North Jersey county course golf. From what I remember, I played a high school tournament there, so it's been a minute. But I remember it being pretty straightforward, almost like a kind of like a Mercer Oaks West kind of vibe.
Well, if it's like Mercer Oaks West, I can get down with that. I think that's a decent place for a county course.
Yeah, exactly. It's like fine, nothing like majorly inspiring, but nothing like totally horrendous.
The last course was Jumping Brook, right? Yeah, Jumping Brook. I have played there in a qualifier, and I really didn't like that place. The conditions weren't good. I really didn't like the layout. When you go to a course for the first time and you play the first couple of holes, you're like, okay, I see what this place is about. And whether you like it or not, you're like, I got to just embrace this place for the day, right? I have no choice. It's like if you go out to Green Acres, it's tree lined, it's tight, the greens are small, you're not going to be able to hit many drivers. You're like, okay, it is what it is. I'll hit my driving iron out there and just suck it up and try to shoot a good score. Jumping Brook's one of those courses I just couldn't get a feel for the course throughout the day. It's like the holes lack synergy. It was just like one bad hole after another with like a different bad element. And every time I get to a new hole, I'm like, what are we going to see now? Oh, a hidden pond. Oh, a blind dog leg. Oh, a hole where you have to hit like a 50-yard boomerang cut. Like just crazy stuff. Yeah, I just really didn't like it out there. That's a total one and done for me. The one thing I will say, it was weird. The 18th hole out there is really strong. It's a great 18th hole, and you get to the 18th, and you're like, I was so out of it by then, but I get there, I'm like, oh, finally like a normal golf hole.
I feel ya. Yeah, there's a lot of courses like that. Yeah, I guess nothing to add on Basking Ridge. Maybe our listeners can tweet at us at Slammers Weekly if anyone knows anything. Can make this podcast a forum for aggregation of information about golf courses. But anyway, that's the AM. The Open this year is at Hackensack Golf Club in Old Charles Banks. I've not been up there. What's the word on Hackensack?
Like you said, at Charles Banks, one of the few courses that Banks has his name stamped on as the original design. I know he was Seth Raynor's protege and did a lot of work on Seth's courses, but only a dozen or so courses that are solely acclaimed, solely accredited to Banks. I love Hackensack, man. It's really a fun course. You would love it. It's got a lot of template stuff out there. It's got a cool punch bowl, a cool redan. Got some really cool bunkering. Typical Charles Banks style. Dugout well below the ground surface. Steep faces, perched up greens. That real intimidating style. It's got an awesome Biarritz. One of the best renditions of a Biarritz I've ever seen.
I think Biarritz is how they say it.
No, so I have looked this up, and I agree. I've heard a lot of people call it that. But I've also heard a few different ways of saying it. I'm like, let me just Google this and see what the hell is the correct way. And I think it is Biarritz, according to Google pronunciation. It was named after a hole at Biarritz Golf Club in France, which was
really
designed by Willie Park. Yeah, so I think it's Biarritz.
I like it. All right, cool. This is good information. Oh wow, it does say that Biarritz. Huh. Biarritz.
Yeah, I mean it's not like anyone really cares, right? It is call it what you want.
I kind of care.
Well, if you care, then you could start calling it Biarritz. Then join the movement.
Yeah, I feel like we just kind of Anglicanize it, and we're just like Brits.
Yeah, I called it Biarritz forever. I feel like there's so many ways to botch that word. But anyways, moving back to Hackensack. I think the scores will be pretty low there. It's not an overly difficult course. Difficulty definitely lies in the greens, so it'll depend on how firm and fast they can get those that week. But either way, I think you're going to see an under par score win it out there.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have some pros in the field. The Jersey pros generally get it done. So, yeah, you got to figure scores are going to be low.
Yeah, those top 5 or so Jersey pros are pretty damn good.
No doubt. All right. We got qualifiers at Beacon Hill, Knoll Country Club West, Preakness Hills Country Club, and Cherry Valley. Maybe a best and worst there, and where are you going?
I signed up for Beacon Hill. I don't really know anything about it. I've heard from some friends that it's just a pretty stock qualifying course. Cherry Valley, Reese Jones, I do not particularly like that place very much. It's funny, I played there like 6 or 7 years ago, and prior to that I only played 2 of his other courses, Lookaway and Huntsville, and we've talked about Lookaway before. We both liked that spot. But Huntsville, I thought it was a mixed bag. It had some good and bad, but I thought the bad outweighed the good. And then I played Cherry Valley, and I remember finishing up and being like, all right, I think it's fair to say I don't really like this Reese fella too much.
Yeah, I agree. It's not super inspiring. I've played it a bunch of times. The conditions are usually pretty good. You catch it in the spring, it's going to be pretty lush. The qualifier there is on June 29th, so you could start getting some of that kind of baked, squishy stuff going on. But might still be early enough in the season. I guess just kind of depends how the spring goes. In terms of the other qualifiers, I don't think we have any notes on Preakness Hills. Listeners, help us out. Knoll Country Club West, from what we know, is also a Charles Banks. So that's pretty cool. I don't know exactly where that is, but I feel like from an architecture perspective, I would try to make it out there.
Definitely pretty bummed out we haven't made it out there. Yeah, with being big Banks and Rayner fans. Definitely a spot we got to check out at some point.
Indeed. Okay, that's the Open.
They got Jersey still runs the Pub Links, which is dope. Great tournament. If you played high school golf and you want high school golf vibes again, go to a Pub Links qualifier. The event is at Neshannock Valley, which is great. I played tons of tournaments there. I played a high school tournament there. I played a college tournament there. It's really, really, really solid public golf. Where'd the qualifiers go? Anyway, I've had good rounds at Neshannock. I've had my heart broken at Neshannock. I've had that place is formative. I had one of my first really good tournament rounds. I think I shot even or something like for the first time there, which was fun. And then, I had some bad times. But any thoughts on Neshannock?
I don't have the memories that you do. I have played there a few times, just casual rounds, but yeah, I think that's such an asset to the county having that as a county course. I mean, that place is super fun. To me, it's really the model of what public golf courses should be. All right, pretty wide open, pretty easy off the tee, good pace of play, but at the same time challenging enough for the scratch golfer to keep you coming back and keep you intrigued. It's awesome. I have nothing bad to say about that place.
Yeah, I feel like the aesthetics and the conditions are always great out there. Like they have the long grass going, and it's usually plays pretty firm, and the greens are usually pretty good, and the greens are pretty big, and there's a lot of kind of fairway around them. It's like it's a lot of fun. It's the kind of course you could just play all day. Like you just go around and around.
Yeah, and a side note on that was done by Dana Fry and Michael Hertzan, who also did Hamilton Farm, which was the course we covered for the 4-ball.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they're modernish day architects. They're doing stuff currently, right?
Yeah, they since split. they don't have their partnership anymore, but I know Dana Fry's still doing some work. He's doing the restore or the renovation, whatever you want to call it, down in South Jersey at Union League National, and that place is really coming good. He's doing a really good job there, but I don't know what old Mikey Hertz is up to.
All right, fair enough. Nothing too notable on the Pub Links qualifiers. I don't think I even really want to comment, to be honest. Yeah, that kind of wraps it up for Jersey. We're going to touch on the MGA a little bit. We're not really MGA guys for a number of reasons that we don't have to get into. But, you know, if you are, or if you want to play in some really cool events at some good courses, then you should consider it. There's a couple of those. The MGA this year is having, I guess, what's the
And just to clarify, when you say we're not MGA guys, we mean it just from the sense we don't really play in the tournaments. The association obviously speaks for itself. I mean, we don't know every association in the country, but I think it would be hard to find an association better than the Met. Consistently having tournaments at top 100 venues, and the fields are just so consistently strong.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. We admire it. We're just, you know, we're trunk slammers.
Yeah, they got a lot of courses in that association that can really throw a trunk slammer out of his routine. You know, you got to get there early. You got to use the locker room to put your shoes on. You got to strict no outside beverage policies, right? So you got to really be on your game as a slammer up there.
Absolutely. All right, so what do we want to comment on here? So I guess the most notable thing, the Met Am is at Friar's Head. It's like top 10 in the world. It's Core Crenshaw. Tournament's August 3rd to 6th. You know, it's down there on beautiful links land. So even in the heat of August, it'll be pretty nice in the morning, I would imagine. If you can manage to snag a morning tee time on August 3rd, that would be pretty cool for you. What do you know about Friar's Head? And I know you're not, you know, we just don't play in too many of these events, but is that one you might do?
I think so. I think if the dates align, I haven't gotten that far ahead. I think that's worth just giving it a shot. I know it's always tough to get in those because it's right around even par, and it's so much tougher when the number is even compared to like 3 or 4 over, which is typically the numbers down here with Gap and even Jersey, because you get off to that bad start and you're always like, you know, I can shoot a couple under on the back nine. If I shoot 40 or 41 on the front, I can shoot a 33 or 4 on the back, but as soon as you know the number's even, as soon as you get the 4 or 5 over, you're like, I don't have 5 birdies and 10 holes in me, really, right? Like pretty like
this was a bad decision. That's just the feeling we always hate, right? When you get that, you're out there, you're 5 over through 5, you drove 2 hours of the qualifier, and you're like, what the hell am I doing out here? It's such a terrible feeling when you're like, and you start thinking about all the stuff you got to do at work and your kids and everything else. But if you're a tournament golfer, those are the rounds that you sometimes need. You're out there, you're working on something, you're getting tournament swings in. The pressure's totally off. And it seems like those are the rounds that you often find something in that keeps you coming back to the next day, the next tournament. And that's why we've been stuck playing this game for most of our lives, because no matter how bad it seems to get out there, it always brings you back.
But yeah, I think, they actually, wow, that's really cool. They have the qualifier at Rock Spring, which was the course that I would have done. It's in Jersey. The closest course to me is actually on a Sunday, July 23rd. So that's pretty cool. They're doing a Sunday qualifier. Wow.
I feel like that's like a no-brainer.
I mean, that's so nice of Rock Spring to even offer up a qualifier on a Sunday, which is, you know, obviously the peak day for them as a public track.
Back in crazy tee time revenue.
Yeah, so that seems like a no-brainer. Now that we're looking at it, you got to get a handicap through Met. Of course, the Met's not through Met, but you can get an e-handicap online through them. Yeah, no, I think that's I think anybody who's a golf enthusiast and yeah, appreciates a good tournament and a good course, you gotta peg it up there and see what happens.
Yeah, I would say so. I guess Lake Mohawk. That's not the same one as the Jersey one. That would make sense. What was the Jersey one? Mohawk, something else?
No, I think they screwed this up. It says Lake Mohawk Golf Club, Sparta Township, NY. I think that's they meant to say Jersey.
Oh, Sparta is a town in Jersey. Yeah, Lake
Yeah,
Mohawk.
yeah, Lake Mohawk's in Jersey. They just screwed up. But yeah, that is the Lake Mohawk, same one that the qualifier for the Jersey. I think it was the mid M was that. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, like, if you live up there and you know that place, like, that's kind of a no-brainer. I would play them both. You get like a little mojo from the Jersey one, and then, you've already competed there a few weeks ago, and you go out in the Met one, and
Yeah. It's a good year to be a Lake Mohawk Club champ. You know the course and you
definitely.
punch a couple tickets to some sweet events.
That Manhattan Woods isn't far off from North Jersey either. It's like right across the line there. I don't know too much about that place, but I hear it's nice, and there's like celebrity members and stuff out there. It's about all I got on that. Not particularly notable. Anything else on the Met? Yeah, they got some other good tournaments.
The Opens at Arcola, which we wanted to touch on.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that place rocks.
How fun is that place?
So fun. The greens are just so good, and you can kind of smash it around, but it's still hard. But yeah, the greens are really the story there. Man, that place is good.
Yeah, some of the best greens I've ever played. I can't think of a green surface with less grass on them than that place. I mean, it was almost like putting on a pool table, and people use that term a lot. But I I mean, there was absolutely zero green on those things.
Yeah, I mean they had to be like legit 14s.
Yeah, I think they said they stimped him at 14s that day, and people say throw numbers out there, and you go, yeah, huh, yeah, and then you get out there and you're going, whoa, okay, yeah, these certainly aren't 12s. I know that. Once you get over like 12, 12 and a half, you're like, you can kind of say anything, and I believe it because we don't really play greens over that very often,
Exactly. Yeah, there just aren't that many of them.
especially on a Tuesday afternoon or whenever we played it. And that's the craziest part about that place is they say they keep them like that every day in and day out. It's not like we went out there on a Sunday morning and they got them juiced up for the members. It's the place is just and then the layout is I think it's pretty underrated. I know it's from a ranking perspective, it doesn't really rank super high in any ranking, but I don't know. I think that place is really good. Little to criticize out there.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, layout wise, I think it's in kind of that, just kind of like North Jersey upper end country club. Like I would kind of put it layout wise in there with um, kind of like a Montclair or Canoebrook, kind of like that. But then from a condition standpoint, it's just like off the charts.
Yeah, I think the best holes at Arcola are better than the best holes at some of those other places you mentioned. Like I think of the 11th hole there is awesome, par 3 over the water, and then is it 13, the short 4 with the water on the right, the pump house, which is their logo. Such a fun hole, some really cool shot options there. And I think of like 3 and 4 are both awesome back up the hill. 4s has that Fescue Valley going on.
Like those few of those holes, like you just don't get at Canoebrook or the Montclairs, right? They're just. I get what you're saying. There's certainly a grouping of holes that I would compare to that. I just have Arcola just a little bit better than those places.
All right, I'll give you that. I think the good holes at Arcola are significantly better than the good holes at either of those courses. But yeah, that third hole's epic. That feels like you're coming up the hill and the fairway's just kind of cut out of this like kind of ramp thing going up the hills. You're kind of in these. It almost feels like you're in the dunes.
Oh, the
somewhere.
fourth hole you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, the fourth hole, yeah, going up the hill, and then you get up there and you can, it's the highest point of the property. You can kind of see around New Jersey a little bit. You can see New York. That's some cool stuff. They got qualifiers for this event. They have one at Fiddler's Elbow in New Jersey. They don't say which course of the three that it is, so that might make a difference. But usually good conditions out there. You know what you're getting. Good quality New Jersey. Private golf, and then there's another one in New Jersey to be announced, not yet mentioned, and then some others further out. Not courses that I know. Anything to comment on there?
I'm looking at the list. Yeah, I got nothing up there. Never played
Alright.
Fiddlers and haven't touched those New York spots.
I've played all three at Fiddler's a number of times. I've always kind of had friends out there. It's only 20 minutes or so from where I grew up. Yeah, it's good, solid stuff. There's one course of the three I think that's significantly better. Known. Probably still would sign up because I like those two, just not as much. Anyway, that's the MGA, or at least the highlights from kind of the Jersey perspective, and the general perspective, or our perspective. There's a Korn Ferry Tour event this year in New Jersey. For I guess the first time in a while or ever. They're having it at Metedeconk, a place you and I have some recent history at. Do you think they made a good choice with going to Metedeconk? And what do you think? I guess, how do you think those guys will play it?
Try to remain objective in my course reviews, and it's hard with the DFL finish in the mid-am a couple years ago there, making a 5-foot slider to break 90. Man, and we played the practice run out there, and I think we got through 11 holes. I mean, we were just chopping it up.
Hang on, can you clarify on DFL?
Oh, dead fucking last. But I will note, if you really dig deep, there were some guys that were bound to shoot higher, but they didn't card. So I showed some heart, turned the card in. But yeah, for guys that turn their card in, dead fucking last.
You gotta respect that. It'd be so easy to not card, but I respect the card.
It was a tough one, especially when you're walking out there. It's one of those courses. There's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing really fun about it. You can sit here and go back and forth whether you like it or not, but I don't think you can say it's a fun golf course. It's hard. There's not really any short holes. There's the par fives are just, in my opinion, some of the worst collection of par fives I've ever played, which is usually should be your funner holes. You should be able to at least have a couple 2-shotters there. They're all pretty much 3-shotters except for the one, but it's kind of like a heroic blind. Just maybe you get lucky and hit it close. Second shot, I think, in the 14th hole.
That green's impossible to hold.
Yeah. It's just I really struggle with that place. I'm curious to see what the Korn Ferry guys think.
I'd like to think it'd be a mixed bag. I mean, you'd think that the shorter hitters would like it with it being so tight, and you'd think that the longer hitters wouldn't like it because it really takes a lot. It really takes driver out of your hand on most holes. I mean, if you're 320, 330, like some of those top level Korn Ferry guys are, there's not very many driver holes. I mean, even the par fives. I mean, I think of like 3, you would have to take a crazy line there over the trees to even think about hitting driver if you were longer. I just don't know if the reward's there because this approach shot's so difficult. 12, same thing. I mean, when I remember, it really bottlenecks there at like in that landing zone for those longer guys. There's really nowhere to hit it. And once again, a really tough second shot in. Just not much reward for length out there. But either way, I don't think it really matters. I mean, it's not like it's the PGA Tour, like when they had the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay, and players are saying they hate the place, and it's like, well, I guess we're not going back there.
Uh, yeah, Matita man. I don't know. What do you think? You were out there. You played a lot better than I did, and maybe it's just my game. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of no way to end up like without sand in your eyes and stuff out there, and you're just sweating and just kind of you got sand everywhere. And if you hit one offline, you're in that crazy fescue, and you end up all itchy walking out of that stuff. So you could just kind of like, end up in your car after that round, just sweating with the seat sticking to your legs, and just you're scraping sand out of your eyes, and your legs are all itchy, and you just wonder why you do any of this stuff. That being said, if you played well out there, you wouldn't care about any of that. And I think these Korn Ferry Tour guys are going to play a lot better than we did, and they're probably not going to end up in all those shitty spots. Maybe some of the Southeastern guys will like it. It's RTJ Senior, who, whatever, if you're from Alabama or something like that, you're probably familiar. I don't know. He's done a lot of work. So, and also like if you're really good, that kind of heroic, targety type stuff is a lot more fun for you. So I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah, for the guys who have the high cut 285 3-wood, you mean?
Right. Or like just sky all of their irons and they just come straight down to earth, like without any forward momentum.
Yeah, that's what you need out there on a few shots. There's a few of those heroic shots. And yeah, like you were talking about the fescue, to get back to that. I mean, I don't know, especially for a new, I don't know what happened there, because they should have this figured out by now, but they sod it fescue. And that stuff was the thickest stuff I've ever hit out of that actually like came into play, right? Obviously, if you blow in 100 yards right and you're in some shit that's head high, it's like, okay, whatever, you deserve to be in there. I mean, this is stuff that's like around bunkers and legitimately in play, even for better players, right? And speaking of walking off, I got in that stuff on the 11th hole there, and I took one hack at it. I didn't even move the ball. Right, guys are kind of looking around like, was that a practice swing? It's like, nope, I was attempting to hit the ball. I same exact attempt, do it again. The ball goes absolutely nowhere. And at this point, I'm panicked. I'm like, I'm 20 yards from the pin, and I literally can't move the ball. Like I've never whiffed on back-to-back shots in my life, right? And at that point, panic set in. Like, if I don't advance this one, it's one of these ones where it's just going to be the Happy Gilmore, swing it like 50 times, throw the club, right? Whatever, minus the club throw, because I don't throw clubs. And I just literally basically like essentially like closed my eyes and just swung as hard as I could. It was like, fuck this course, man. I can't take this place. And I swung as hard as I can, and it blasted out and rolled to like a foot. And I was like, I looked at Drew and I'm like, I guess my brother is counting from, like, I guess we're not walking off. I guess we got to finish this one out.
He was probably bummed. He was ready to roll.
Yeah, he was like, he was just waiting. He would have just loved the meltdown and just packed up, because at that point we're not too far away from the clubhouse. We could have just grabbed a couple dogs on the way out and hit the road. That's probably what we should have done, but man, we grinded it out and shot that 89. But that just goes to show, I mean, I'm talking about full swing from 20 yards out and caught great contact with the ball, and like this stuff is just unbelievably thick.
Yeah, I trudged around in it a bit. I think I had to hit a shot out of it. I can't remember. Yeah, the photographer did you dirty. I feel like they try to get a shot of everybody like that, qualifies and plays in the event. But yours was rough.
Yeah, it had me. I think I want to say it was a one-handed finish. It was just me chopping out of the fescue with like fescue bladed grass, like shooting everywhere. And I believe it was
first hole, I think, right?
Yeah, it was with like a one hand. I'm pretty sure it was with like a one-handed follow through or something goofy. Like it just like I couldn't look like more of a chopper if I tried.
I wonder if that's still on there.
It almost would be funny to get framed just as a. I should have got that picture with the plaque. That DFL, the 89-89. So I think it was
Save
like
the ball.
72,
Put it in the
70,
flag.
70, 72nd out of 72 players, whatever it was.
72 of 72. That's
Ugh.
so good.
Man. But yeah, like you said, those Korn Ferry guys will play it a lot better. And no, to be fair, it's got one of the best ranges you'll ever see. And the clubhouse, the locker room's awesome. So it's got some cool stuff, but the course itself, to me, is nothing short of a torture chamber.
Yeah, I agree. Facilities off the charts. If you could just be a range member there, that would be the greatest range membership you could ever get. The short game facility is nuts.
The range has a side hill section to practice side hill lies.
That's so good. More ranges should have that. Some do unintentionally.
Yeah. No, it's true. But no, you're right. It's an underrated shot because a lot of guys, especially guys who start off playing, don't have those kind of shots. A lot of guys have the stock shots where it's like you can tell they've just been beating balls off mats and flat lies. And then as soon as you get them out to a hilly course and they got some baseball swings, they look like they're drunk and blindfolded over the ball.
Totally. It's, oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be so valuable to just like beat balls off of that and just like start to like just feel the physics over like a large sample size instead of like trying to explain it to someone. You know, like ball above your feet, it's gonna go left. People are like, well, no, not for me. Like, whoa. I'm like, no, it's like physics. Like it's just how it works. You know, it's like if you hit 20 balls off, you know, ball above your feet lie, like eventually you're gonna realize like, okay, it does shoot a little left, like just pretty much immediately.
Yeah, right. And it's for me, I would love to practice that. The one shot I don't have is playing the opposite of what the lie dictates. Like I have a really hard time hitting or trusting a cut off of a hook lie.
Of course.
And vice versa. It's
you try to play it whenever you can.
well, you remember I don't know if you remember last year in that 4-ball club. That was the last time I attempted one of those. I tried to hit a cut 3-wood off of a draw lie. And do you remember how I drilled that kid's bag?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, you were like lucky to be in play in the first place, right?
Yeah, it was just like you said, the guy like hit a sniper off the tee. Was lucky to be in the play or be in play. And rather than just kind of punch run and went up there, he's like, no, I got this 3-wood off of the hook lie. I'm gonna hit this high cut in there.
Were you in the rough too?
Hideki Matsuyama, like, and I don't even know if that thing really got airborne. I really don't think it did. Maybe like I wouldn't even give it a foot. Maybe 10 inches off the ground, and just drilled that guy's bag like maybe like 25 yards in front of it, and to the left. Guy's bag was like, it wasn't even close. Like it was probably like the bag was probably 40 yards left of where I was aiming, and it was like 25 yards ahead of me. Like it was just like a pull top, just drilled it, right into the ground, and just it was.
And I remember when it first happened, I'm thinking of the rule when you used to hit the guy's bag and it was or some of their equipment and it's a penalty on them. And I'm like, I can't call a penalty on this guy. I mean, his bag was in a totally fine spot. It was clearly my fault, my awful golf shot. And luckily it ended up being that rule had been eliminated, I think, that year. I didn't even realize that at the time. But, yeah, it was just a debacle out there.
Classic day for a couple of trunk slammers.
Not the only thing I hit last year. I also hit a guy in a tournament last year, but we'll talk about that another time.
You hit him right in the leg, and he acted like it was no big deal, but it definitely hurt.
He was a tough dude. There's no doubt that if I got hit with that thing, I would have just crumbled. The thing was just a piss missile right in the thigh. I was just so happy when I came up to him he was okay. It was really could have been a lot worse, thank God. Little story behind it, but we'll save it for another time.
All right. Well, that's Jersey golf. That's some insight into the life of the Slammers. That's the tournaments. Keep an eye on the schedule. The Jersey stuff is coming up soon. There's some MGA stuff as well, but I think the Publinks is the first event. That's not till June or something like that. So plenty of time there. But I think that kind of wraps it up for our Jersey preview. We're happy to be doing this. Keep tuning in if you are already. That's wonderful. Thanks. For my friend Beau Garino, I'm Cole Clark. Thanks for listening to the Slammers podcast.